It's time for another edition of We Welcome Your Teams, a podcast about the most unique job in sport, football stadium announcers.
When we tried that system for the first time, I got a text saying, I'm putting my washing out, I can hear you from my house.
There was the odd occasion where, I'm jumping around like a football fan. I forgot that I was going to be and somebody would say, you haven't announced the goal yet. Oh, well, I better do that. So,
Good afternoon, South.
Ross Stewart is, I think, a nice name to announce.
Oh, honestly, when I met Ross Stewart, I thanked him for elevating my personal brand.
So as it died down, the analyst said to me, actually, it was an own goal. And I went, bleep that, give me the mic. Goal scorer for Leighton Orient.
You are damaging the pitch. We have a game against Brighton on Sunday.
He said 10,000 of them all love you. 10,000 of them will hate you. And 10,000 of them won't give a about you. And I went, I like those odds.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of We Welcome Your Teams. This is Rich Hurst of West Brom, and alongside me, as always, my co-host, the voice of Old Trafford, Alan Keegan. Hello, Alan.
Hello, Rich. How are you this fine evening? Are you well?
I've been better. You can probably tell I'm a bit nasal. Which as soon as, and as you know, as soon as anything like that comes on that affects the overall vocal performance, the thing you do first is look at the fixture calendar and see how long you've got to get better before the next home game.
Yeah. Well, you'll be okay, mate. You've got a little bit of running, haven't you?
There's a wee bit of running, but it's a busy month ahead of us with a few important home games, and I hope my voice will be used for a few home goals. I hope so.
We all hope so, mate. We all hope
Otherwise, it's going to get a rest for the next few months and I'll just be mumbling away goals, but fingers crossed not. You know how it is. And I've got to make sure I take my Strepsils with me in that ever-reliable. I must imagine the Old Trafford lectern must have its own first aid kit, surely.
Oh, we've got everything there, mate. I've even got the warm cups underneath it now with me hot toddies and all that. So, it's really, the catering has gone up a level. It's fantastic, honestly.
It's good. It's good to see it. All the things changing on the Michael Carrick that people didn't know about. But there you go. There's a nice exclusive for you. Yeah. It's wonderful to hear. Right, our guest is here with us tonight, and someone who has a plethora of experience in stadium announcing. So we have his club's walkout song ready to go. So let's let him introduce himself. Guest, take it away, please.
Accu Stadium, please welcome onto the podcast your guests tonight, David Broadbent, and your very own Alan and Rich.
Hey.
I was waiting for your love to take me higher.
Now, Dave, I hope this is the right song. You said to me that Huddersfield currently walk out to Sub Focus.
That is absolutely correct. Yes.
Okay.
It's different.
How's that gone? It's different. There you go. Thank you, Alan. Thank you. How is that new for this season?
Yeah, there's been a lot of changes at Huddersfield this season in terms of music. There's been a new big screen. There's been a new sound system put in. They've got a new stadium announcer. And it's just a lot has changed. And they tried a few earlier on this season, and Sub Focus has been the one that's been settled on. It seems to be the pre-match music for all the build-up is quite a lot of sort of heavy drum and bass type stuff.
Okay, now the keen people in there will notice you said that they had a new stadium announcer at Huddersfield, which is you. Just explain. Although you're not massively new in this gig, you've done a little bit before.
Yeah, I was Oldham stadium announcer for about 10 years, from 2006 to 2016. Filled in at various different places, doing favours for people like Rochdale, Accrington, and about 12 months ago, I used to work at Huddersfield in their commercial team 7 or 8 years ago, and they needed someone to fill in for a couple of games at the back end of last season. So I still know a few people there. Got a phone call to see if I'd go in and help out, and then got offered the gig for this season.
And you two obviously also know yourself. Alan knows every single guest we have on anyway, but you two also know yourself a little bit from the after dinner circuit.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've actually had breakfast, haven't we, David?
We have,
before Christmas, we went with a very good pal of ours, Andy Powell, and both Powley and Brody, they're the busiest hosts, and after dinner compares in the business. I look up there with Jed Stone. They're really busy, But yeah, so we do know each other, but we've also got a tenuous link because I've got to ask him. There's always a tenuous link, Rich.
Yeah, I love it.
So if I say the name John Williams.
Oh, yeah. John was at Huddersfield. He was part of the same commercial team I was part of 8 or 9 years ago,
Yeah. So great lad, John. So the tenuous link with John is that he, back in the day, Rich, he worked for Vodafone. And when Vodafone were the front of shirt sponsor with United, I was with, at the time, Orange. And so basically I ended up doing an event for them, and the MD saw this. And on the Monday morning, I got a call saying, listen, you've got to cancel your contract with Orange. We're sending you a new Vodafone phone. So at the time, this is going back, you lads are probably too young for this, but it was the Beam Me Up Scotty camera phone that was the first one of its kind. Yeah, the flip phone. And who turned up with it but John Williams, and there started a lifetime friendship, of which, I still speak to John on a regular basis.
Oh,
anyway.
Through your Vodafone network, I hope.
Hey! No, I've moved on now, mate. Yeah.
It's moved on. As soon as that deal was done, it was back. Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, got a better deal elsewhere,
Of course, yeah, exactly. Wow, it's funny, you say that Vodafone sponsorship. You always have that with football shirts and sponsors. If you see a shirt with a sponsor, and it always makes you think of a player straight away. Yeah, and I think for me, the Vodafone shirt is Juan Sebastian Veron.
That is exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
It wasn't me, boys. It wasn't me.
No, sorry, no, it wasn't you, mate.
Yeah. Roy Keane. Roy Keane for me. Roy Keane.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, we digress. Let's not get into that. David, so where do we start then? I suppose
Oldham.
Your first job at Oldham. Yeah. So how do you end up as the announcer at Oldham then?
So in honesty, complete favouritism. One of my friend's dads was chief exec at Oldham for years and years, and we used to go to games, and his son, who still is one of my best friends, used to operate the scoreboard at Oldham, and I was the mouthy friend, and I got asked if I fancied covering a couple of reserve games, like on a Monday night 7 p.m. type thing. Said, yeah, of course I will, why not? And then eventually that progressed to helping out the stadium announcer at Oldham, a guy called Franny Ward, who'd done it for years and years. So I started by reading the scores out at half-time while he was on the pitch with the first team. Then if any games he couldn't make, I'd fill in. And a couple of years later, he left and I sort of took over the role from there.
Was there something about the job you did elsewhere or work you did elsewhere that made them think of you particularly to do this gig? Or was it purely, Dave loves to chat, stick him on the mic?
I think that they probably at the time didn't want to pay anyone to do anything because it was Oldham and stint. And it was a case of my mate's dad saying, "Do you fancy doing this for me on Monday night?" It was like, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
So that's where it all began.
And did you fall in love with it instantly then?
Yeah, it was brilliant, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest, it's a great job. We all wanted to, I'm going to speak for everyone, we all wanted to be footballers when we were kids. We weren't good enough to do it, so what's the next best thing is being involved some way. And I'm not going to be a ref.
Yeah, nobody wants that. Yeah. It's true, isn't it? And all of a sudden you are part of that. You're just part of a match day. You're part of a match day for us, for the club, for everyone, for the fans, and that's why we love it.
Absolutely, yeah, it's brilliant. It's what there are very, very few better jobs you can do on a match day at a club that isn't kicking a football around.
Absolutely, yeah, that's what we're there for. So then you end up at Oldham for what, 10 years? Did you say? Yeah,
so ended up staying there a while, and my day job then became Oldham's sales and marketing manager. So yeah, ended up working at Oldham full time. Kind of through all that, it all sort of it sparked a career. So I'd worked in football, starting at Oldham for 10 or 12 years as well as the day job. So it was brilliant. Loved it. Loved all of it. Even though we weren't great, we never won a trophy, we never went up. We only made the playoffs once during that time. But still,
But you have been to Wembley. Have you been to Wembley, Dave?
As a fan, yes. As an announcer, sadly not. I'm kind of hoping that Huddersfield pick up the last few games of the season.
Oh,
Okay.
You've got a friend.
Finally.
Wembley.
Finally, we
buddy.
meet an announcer that hasn't done Wembley yet.
Oh,
It's
I'd love
fine.
to. One of my first questions to Huddersfield a few months ago when we were talking about the season, how it was going to pan out, was, what happens at Wembley in the playoff final?
Oh, well, well, I can't tell you all about it, but pretty much every other guest we've had on the show can. But yeah, quite something. Still waiting. So, but there must have been some, as the announcer at Oldham, I know you said there were no particular big moments of that, but there must have been some particular moments that sort of stick in your memory as the ones to have been on the mic.
Oh, absolutely. We played Liverpool in the FA Cup in 2013. So I was head of partnerships at Oldham by that time. And the game, just to set the scene, was taking place on a Saturday night, 5:30 p.m, FA Cup round 4, live on ITV1. It was horrific weather all week. The FA had helped by providing that massive dome that goes over pitches to keep it warm in there. So we'd had that the night before. The groundsman slept under the pitch the night before to make sure the game went ahead. We had volunteers in clearing snow from 9 a.m. that morning to make sure the game could go ahead. I was doing the announcing for it, but I was also in my capacity as working at Oldham. So Oldham's manager at the time was Paul Dickoff. And when Paul got to the ground, we were looking round and we were chatting in the tunnel. Now, the tunnel at Boundary Park is you go down the steps to get onto the pitch at Oldham. And we were stood at the top of the pitch, at the top of the tunnel when the Liverpool players arrived. Now, Liverpool didn't take it that lightly that day. Jordan Henderson played, Martin Skirtle played, Suarez played, Gerrard came on, Raheem Sterling played. And the two Uruguayan lads, Sebastian Coates and Luis Suarez, went down onto the pitch to look round. They walked back up the tunnel, and as they did it, they zipped their coats up, pulled them right over their faces, and me and Paul looked at each other, and Paul went running into the Oldham dressing room with me behind him saying, "Lads, these do not fancy this one little bit." And sure enough, we managed to beat Liverpool 3-2 that day. It was it was unbelievable. It was just an amazing day to be part announcing the goals. And during the second half of that game, Steven Gerrard was on the bench for Liverpool. Brendan Rodgers was manager. Brendan Rodgers was pitch side. Steven Gerrard, 10 minutes into the second half, had seen enough and shouted down to Brendan Rodgers, "Gaffer, put me on now." And within 30 seconds, Steven Gerrard was on.
Wow.
So yeah, it was quite the game, and celebrating at full time as a fan on the pitch with the microphone, telling all the fans to get off the pitch. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, what a great story.
Those are one of the few things that will stick in all of our heads, aren't they? Those times where you had to tell people to get off the pitch, knowing full well they're not listening.
Absolutely, and it happened in the round after as well. So after we knocked Liverpool out, we drew Everton at home. Again, it was fifth round of the FA Cup. We were League One, Everton were Premier League, and we equalised in the 97th minute to make it 2-2 to get us a replay at Goodison. Exactly the same thing. I'm on the pitch before I realised, celebrating the goal, stood about 5 yards on the pitch going, can everyone get off the pitch, please? Thinking, no one's going to listen.
So it sounds like you had a good position for the game then when you were at Oldham.
So at Oldham, you have a PA box which is right at the back of the main stand, but because of where the steps are to go down onto the touchline, you can stand at the top of the tunnel. So what I used to do was you'd do the first half up in the PA box, but I'd never go back up after the second half, just in case anything like that was to happen. So you had the police chief and the head steward for the day would also be stood at the top of the tunnel. So I would stand between the two benches at Oldham.
Yeah, that's not a bad spot. And I like that. I've never heard anyone sort of flip it up between first half and second half, but it does make sense because, whatever happens in your first half compared to what, potentially might happen at full time, you're going to be ready for something completely different. It's a really good point.
Yeah, and then most substitutions take place in the second half. So if you're stood next to the benches, you know who's coming on, and if the fourth official's there and can help you out, then you're all right, aren't you?
Well, if they feel like helping you out.
Yeah. What
You know
was
what?
the
I've
gap?
not met an unfriendly one yet. Everyone that I've met so far has been good. Yeah, I've never had a bad experience with a fourth official or a ref, ever.
Must be the
Maybe, I
lower
don't
leagues,
know.
Rich. Must be the lower leagues.
It must be those, yeah. If Huddersfield get to the Championship, brace yourself.
Yeah,
Right, okay,
it'll
I'll look
change.
forward to that.
Brace yourself. Yeah,
It'll
you know,
change.
you've got the amount of work you'll need to do just to find out a substitution, just to be able to sort of either get over their shoulder or just,
Yeah.
you know, just you've got to watch them. Anyone from the 85th minute onwards, if you want to know how much time's added on, if you want to shout their name and ask, and you know the general normal human way you do it, no chance. If you just keep your eyes focused on it, and they might turn round and go, and that's it.
Yeah.
You might get like some fingers with a number if you're lucky. Sometimes you just get it like 3, 2. You might just get it. You might just get it mouthed to you if you like, and you've got to catch
Rich
that.
normally gets that.
Yeah,
it's true. Yeah,
Well,
we always have
you think it's 2 minutes?
2 minutes. Always 2 minutes every game. Yeah.
What?
I know. I can't speak of all. Some have been okay. I've been a bit surprised this season. I can't say.
Yeah. What was the gap, Brody, between Oldham and then Huddersfield? Did you have a bit of a window?
Yeah, it's been about probably 7 or 8 years. But during that time, I've done I've helped out at Oldham if ever their announcer's been off or anything like that. Done the same at Rochdale a few times. Before David took over. I know you had David on last episode, and before he took over, I did a few games for them to help out whilst we were waiting for him to be available. Done a couple at Accrington, so sort of kept my hand in a little bit as and when. But yeah, in terms of doing it on a regular basis, it's probably been 7 years or so.
Right. And so what was the link? Was it the fact that you'd worked at Huddersfield, as you said at the top of the
Yeah, that was exactly it.
So what happened
I've
to the
worked-
previous guy? Why was he finishing?
You know what? I actually don't know. I know that there were some circumstances in which he left. I mean, I've got to say, going in replacing, so I went in replacing Paul Ramsden. Rambo at Huddersfield has been synonymous with the club. He was the announcer when I worked there.
Been there for ages.
Absolute club legend. And I think for anyone going in trying to replace someone who's held in that level of esteem is always a challenge, especially because you can tell from my voice, I'm not from Huddersfield. Rambo is from Huddersfield. And that was the first few games, that was quite the challenge. I'd get things on social media like, wonder what part of Huddersfield he's from then.
Yeah.
But it was then explained to people, actually, I have got a connection with the club. I did used to work at the club. And I grew up sort of halfway between Oldham and Huddersfield. And the way that the fixtures have always worked, Oldham and Huddersfield are on separate weeks for matches.
Right.
So this year, I'm doing the announcing at Huddersfield, but I've got an Oldham season ticket. And growing up as a kid, when I got old enough to be able to travel to games on my own, but not old enough to drive to away games, there was a crossover for about 3 years where I had season tickets at Oldham and Huddersfield when Huddersfield had just moved into the stadium. So, there was always this kind of weird crossover between the two anyway.
It's amazing. Yeah, I only met Paul a couple of times. Once he came to West Brom when Huddersfield were playing as one of the guests, and then we chatted about him coming on here, but obviously didn't do it quick enough, and time elapsed, and things changed over. But yeah, it's an incredible stadium, and I don't know, because we visited there with West Brom with the foundation a couple of years ago. We started our charity bike ride from Huddersfield, but it snowed that year horrendously, so we just had to get driven to Huddersfield, had a picture at the ground, and then got driven to St George's Park and had to wait for the snow to pass. Ridiculous, but it is it's an incredible spot to come to. It was amazing. Getting in at Huddersfield means there was obviously a void left where you were previously at Oldham. So what's this about X Factor auditions?
So I was full-time at Oldham, and we got to a point where my match day duties meant that I was too busy to be the announcer. So you start working at the club full-time, and then obviously you've got, or part of my role was to look after the sponsors, and I always did the hospitality lounges at Oldham in terms of I would interview the player pre-match or whatever in there and mix that in with the announcing job. But it got to a point where the announcing job was kind of, just getting too much to do. So what we did at the time, we advertised for it, but we put together a day of X Factor style auditions. We had 4 judges. So there was myself, there was a girl called Jenny Warburton, who was commercial manager at Oldham, a guy called Gordon Lawton. Gordon had been at Oldham years. He sadly passed a few years ago, but he is very much an Oldham Athletic Club legend. He's been the programme editor, media man there for 25, 30 years. And then a guy called Mike Keegan. Mike is now, I think he's one of the head of sport writers for the Daily Mail. Well, Mike's an Oldham fan.
Yeah.
So Mike got involved to cover it to get some press. And basically what we did, we put like this advert out and had over a day period, we had about 15 people come in. We'd audition them. We'd have them. I'd put team sheets out and just say to them on the side of the pitch, right, substitution away team 5 for 12 or whatever. They'd have to read teams out. We'd have them mimicking a goal and all that sort of thing. And effectively, the 4 of us just kind of sat there like Simon Cowell and made the choice of who was going to replace me.
Was it unanimous?
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, there was one guy that came in, and it was a bit weird because I knew him. He was a friend of mine. I'd known him years. He'd never expressed any interest in anything to do with it at all. I didn't know he was coming in for it, and I just sort of said to the other 3, I was like, "Look, I can't be involved in this. He's a mate of mine. This looks weird. I don't want to touch this." And all 3 of them said, "Well, he's by far the best one." And I was like, "Well, you all think that? That's fine."
We obviously now.
Sorry, Rich. Sorry, is he still doing it?
No, he did it for a few years and stopped. He did it for a few. He managed to not get himself fired, and he was all right. He did it for a few years, and then he had kids, and his kids started playing football, and he doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah. Oh, so we need to get him on to get his side of the story. You know, that's what they do with X Factor contestants, isn't it? It's like when you're the winner, we get you on and find out your side of the story and your journey.
We don't want a journey. We don't want a journey.
But now that he's left, we can get even juicier stuff from him. I don't know.
Well, yeah, you never know.
Track him down. What can you remember? Well, obviously, you know his name because what was his name?
Adam Wilson. He's a mate of mine. I'm still in touch with him now.
Okay, all right then. Noted. So what's it been like at Huddersfield? How have things been different from the Oldham gig?
It's a lot more high tech. There is a great new big screen at Huddersfield that the club use on a match day to try and get as interactive as possible with supporters. So they'll do like a match day quiz before the game. Terriers trivia on there. They've got a couple of videos, sort of hype videos that they'll use in the build up to the game. Then got tunnel cam, so it means everyone in the stadium can then see the teams lining up in the tunnel, getting ready to come out. There's been a new sound system put in this year as well. It's just a lot more high tech. Oldham was very much. I did a game for Oldham last year that I covered for them, and the PA box is exactly the same as it was when I started at Oldham 20 years ago. Yeah. It's not changed in the slightest, and Huddersfield has. It's a lot more modern. Where the PA box at Huddersfield as such, 2 or 3 screens in to watch the game. So I actually don't stand by the side of the pitch. I'm in a PA box with the guy that operates the scoreboard and the guy that plays the music. And it means that we can see on screen with delay and replays anything before we get it wrong.
Yeah.
Don't say it's ever gone wrong in these years of your experience, has it, David?
Oh, loads. I mean, so interested to pick your brains. Actually, I mean, this is going to be fascinating for a podcast. What do you do with own goals?
We don't announce them.
Yeah, we don't.
Right, so that would be my go-to. But you just and at Oldham, I did read them out because I was young, daft, and thought it was funny. Did it when they went for us, not when they went against us, obviously. But at Huddersfield this year, there's been a couple of own goals, so we've just announced the score rather than an actual goal scorer. So yeah, that's kind of been different. So yeah, I mean we've all got goals wrong in the early days at Oldham. Yeah, if there's 3 or 4 people jumping up for a corner, or there's a scramble. I used to caveat, especially with away teams, by saying, "I think your goal was scored by whoever." But the press box at Oldham was next door to the PA box. So if we genuinely didn't know, we'd put our head in the press box to find the away press and go, "Who scored your goal?"
Yeah. It's nice. Yeah.
Any other clangers, Dave, that come to mind? Any big hitters that you've got wrong?
I mean, less about getting things wrong, more about doing stupid things on the pitch, like thinking you're a footballer and trying to join in with games.
Never do that. Never do that.
I've stacked it a couple of times at absolutely, yeah.
No.
And
can I ask when you stacked it? Just because it's happened to me. Have you stacked it mid-sentence or just in between action?
So it happened twice. The first time I was walking behind the goal. I'd been to one of the hospitality suites. I was walking back behind the goal where the home fans were situated, and the team were warming up, and I went to kick a ball back to one of the players, and it was a wet day, and I slipped and went right over, but I wasn't in the middle of anything. So that got a cheer. That was about 10-3 as I was walking back to the halfway line. That got a cheer. And then there was one occasion that I was messing around at halftime, trying to move people around for games. A ball came flying over, and again, in front of the main stand, as I was talking, decided to try and show off and volley it back. I did not volley it back at all. Ended up on the deck, and all you can do at that point is laugh at yourself.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. Yeah, if it's mid sentence, that means most people, if they are paying attention to what's going on, they're looking at you.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it happens, doesn't it? And we'd all love to be Daniel Farker. You know, when he had that touch, where he just killed it dead on the touchline as if it was nothing. We'd all love to have that, but you think you're going to do it, just don't even try. I can tell you now, it's not going to work.
Yeah, but it's like anything. You get to the edge of a football pitch, you're stood on the touchline while the touchline meets the halfway line. And because you're stood on a football pitch, you think you're a footballer. And when that ball comes flying over, you're going to try and control it like a footballer rather than just getting out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what? It did happen once. It wasn't quite Daniel Farker-esque, but I managed to trap an aerial ball that the keeper warming up had done. And I managed to trap it, but nobody saw it.
Oh, I think
because you do it and you're like, did anyone just no?
I think I can one better that. We were playing a crossbar challenge at Huddersfield earlier on this season, and the 3 people had a go and missed. And it's part of the thing at Huddersfield that whatever game you're doing, if they're not doing well, you take the mick out of them in a nice, gentle way, but you take the mick out of them. And one of the lads went, well, let's see if you can do any better then. And I went, well, I'll have a go. I tried not to fall over, took one step back and hit the crossbar. Never done it before, never done it since. Oh. The worst thing in the world for me, Virtu Trophy game, 950 fans there.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Why does it never happen when you like the red button on Sky game? Why does it never happen there?
If that had been Derby Day against Bradford a few weeks ago with 24,000 in and I'd have done it, I'd have still been doing laps of the pitch now.
Right. So, just to go back on that, so what is the big Derby game, did you say?
Bradford. This season, certainly is. There's plenty of Yorkshire derbies in League One this year. So there's Donny, Rotherham, Barnsley, but Bradford's the big one.
Right, okay. And how did you do against them?
So 1-0. So it was a very pleasant Saturday lunchtime. Actually, it was one of those games. It was really difficult at the start because earlier on this year, Terry Yorath passed away.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
Terry represented Leeds, Bradford, and Huddersfield, and he passed away the week before the game. So we did a tribute to him and a eulogy before the game, and a few of his family were there. So reading that out, and at that point, to be fair to the home fans and the away fans, everybody behaved impeccably and applauded at the right points. And yeah, it's very rare that someone would represent the three West Yorkshire clubs and still get an ovation like that.
Yeah, yeah. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I love that.
That is good.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and those are big moments for us as announcers, because you don't want to stumble over anything there, do you?
Oh
No.
yeah, absolutely. It's like you do it every year, but when you do the remembrance game and when we do the poppy game, you just kind of, it's weird, isn't it? We worry more about that than anything else, and you could probably now just recite it off the top of your head, but because it's the heat of the moment, you kind of you worry more about that than any other part of the job.
Okay, it's back to the chat with our guests shortly, but first let's take a bit of time to tell you about why we love working with Shoot Music. They are the #1 music provider to the sport DJ community, and there's no point being a great announcer if there isn't great music to back you up on your match day. So, Shoot Music have a match day DJ service. You sign up for free and get new music sent straight to you, because they know that stadium atmospheres need creating and curating. You'll get access to handy instrumental versions, crowd-pleasing remixes, and specialised DJ mixes straight to your inbox, ready for your next match day. So to sign up, email them info@shootmusic.co.uk. Feel free to let them know you heard about them here on the We Welcome Your Teams podcast. This month, the team have sent round some amazing tracks. Here are 3 of our favourites. First up, it's the new single from Welsh ragga metal legends, Skindred. They've got an album coming out soon called You Got This, and from it, here's the title track, one we like quite a lot. Plus, on Shoot Music, there's an instrumental version as well. Love it. Next up, we're bringing you one of the UK's most exciting rising guitar bands, the Florentines. They've got a new EP, Breaking News, coming out in the middle of May, and from it, we love this, Madeline. And finally, the Wellerman are back. They've got an EP called 1778. Their East Coast folk sound is back. There's a huge load of tracks available via Shoot Music. We've chosen The Galway Girl.
Oh, I do right then. I'd be taking a whirl round the Salthill prom with a Galway girl.
And there you have it, all tunes that were sent straight to our inbox just because we're signed up to Shoot Music's Matchday DJ service. Perfect for announcers looking for new tunes to add to their matchday playlist or recommendations to pass on to that person in charge of matchday music. Shoot will also support the great job announcers are doing with social media plugs and interviews with them as well. Plus, they're always looking for that next artist/club collaboration that could involve your team. And remember to see which tunes are doing the business at sports stadia around the world. Check out the Stadium Chart. There's a new one published every month. Okay, that's plenty for now about the great job Shoot Music do. Let's get you back to our guests with this episode of We Welcome Your Teams.
So for anybody listening to this, obviously we're talking about your role as the announcer, but, you know, all joking aside, you're very busy outside of that with hosting events, and you've done all the major superstars. And, you know, how do you enjoy that? And who's been interested in you've done there? I mean, you mentioned Harry Redknapp before we started recording. Who have you really enjoyed hosting?
Harry's brilliant. I've done probably 10 dates with Harry this year in theatres up and down the country. He is great value. We sit on the stage, we do 2 45-minute halves of just a story about his life and his life in football and his life out of football, winning I'm a Celebrity. You know, he's just the nicest guy. He has time for everyone. We do the meet and greet before. People will come and meet him. He has time for every single person. He's brilliant company. He's just great to work with. He's a really, really good guy.
Now, we were talking about some of those embarrassing moments about slipping over on the pitch. I heard somewhere that you've gone sometimes beyond the call of duty for your club and maybe worn a Mascot outfit.
Oh, right. I've got two things to say. Yes, I adopted the Mascot suit. I was pitch side. It was 2:15, and the Mascot.
Wait, was this Huddersfield or Oldham?
This was Oldham.
Oldham.
And the Mascot had phoned in sick. Now, at the time, Oldham's mascot, Chaddy the Owl, do you remember they used to do the Mascot Grand National? And
Yeah.
Didn't
it kick off one year?
Yeah.
It kicked off one year, didn't it?
Oldham's mascot won it 3 years out of 4. He was very, very fast. He was a good amateur footballer. In fact, he still does it now. Years later, he still does it. He's still Oldham's mascot. And he phoned in sick, and there was no one to do it. And I was like, at the time, I was helping out as a stadium announcer. I was doing the half-time stuff. We still had, Franny Ward was still a stadium announcer. So they said, you have to throw this on, just do a bit. And it was a home game against Blackpool. And I was like, right, okay. So I'd been at a game. I knew what the mascot did. So that was fine. The problem was Wayne, who was Chaddy and still is, Wayne was in very good shape. I was about 19 stone. And it was a tight owl costume, I'll tell you that now. And at half-time, there was a race scheduled around this pitch against Bloomfield Bear. Now, Chaddy never, ever lost races. He was the Mascot Grand National champion. I was 18, 19 stone and fat. I had no chance. Bloomfield Bear must have lapped me twice trying to go around the pitch. And I literally heard a kid, as I was walking off the pitch at half-time, I literally heard a kid say to his mum, "What's wrong with Chaddy?"
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what's wrong is that he is a fat bloke pretending to be the real mascot for the day.
Wow.
Yeah. Did not end well.
Kid's still haunted by it.
I got sent a picture. At the time, Oldham sat the away fans behind one of the goals, and the stand is split into two. And you either have the big section or the small section. And on that day, Blackpool brought a few fans. They got given the big section. I sat for the first half on my own in the costume in the small section, and the club sent me pictures of it afterwards of me basically lying across 3 or 4 seats, and it looked like the owl was dead.
The owl has landed.
Yeah, but it wasn't good. And weirdly, I never got asked to fill that role again.
Never got asked. Well, if you don't like it, there is one way to make sure you don't get asked ever to do it again. Yeah.
I think it was the first race that Chaddy the Owl had ever lost.
Yeah, it's like a blemish on his record. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's the asterisk after winning the title, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then we had a game against Walsall at Oldham 1 December. Now, if you've been to Oldham's ground, you'll realise how cold it is at Boundary Park. And the pitch was frozen. There's one patch in front of the main stand that never gets any sunlight, and it's always the part that's frozen. It was a 0-0 home game against Walsall. It got noted in the press the weekend after that the game was got on by specialist teams using specialist heating equipment. That was me, 2 other lads on the ground staff, and 3 blowtorches.
Literal blowtorches?
Yeah, literal blowtorches just to melt this small area. We're a League One club.
Yeah.
Blowtorches on pitch to get the game going ahead. And one of the people coming out of the kitchen pouring boiling water on the touchline.
Yeah, love it.
You don't get that at Old Trafford Island, do you?
No, but I tell you what, I wish someone had a video of that or photographs. They're just the things that you need to have a record of, aren't they? The only thing that we've had, and you may have seen it in the paper it's been over a number of years, but we had, over over different seasons, particularly in the winter, we've had mice running up and down the sideline at, at Old Trafford.
Didn't they get into the kitchens at one point?
Well, I think there was. I couldn't comment on that, Richard. I'm not. Yeah, it's all right. But yeah, there was mice. Whether or not they were from the kitchens, Rich, I couldn't comment. But
Couldn't comment, of course.
they were on the pitch, and the game was that bad. The cameraman was focusing on the mouse. It was.
I do love a good animal pitch invasion. It seems to happen more often in Spain or somewhere like that recently, but I do love a good animal.
Yeah, definitely. What's been your favourite sort of moment, your highlight as a stadium announcer, Dave? And what's been your worst moment as a stadium announcer?
So I think worst moment is when you lose. I grew up supporting Oldham, and when you're 3-0 down at home, it's not a right lot of fun. I did a game one year. Oldham played Cardiff at home, and we were 6-0 down at half time. That wasn't a right lot of fun.
Oh,
yeah, and it's just like you really get into it, and I find myself at Huddersfield. When Town score like the game against Bradford, it's a local derby. You can't help but get caught up in the emotion of it, and you're screaming the goal scorers' names out, and it just gets to you, doesn't it? You just get caught up in it because ultimately we're all fans, so you just get caught up in it. And I think I would say at Huddersfield, it's only been a year or so, but certainly beating Bradford and that it went so well with the Terry Yora thing, and his family sent an email into the club saying, that they were delighted with how everyone in the stadium responded and that. And you look at that and go, all right, yeah, I'm proud of that. That was something that went really, really well. At Oldham, absolutely knocking Liverpool out the FA Cup because we were bottom half League One and they were Liverpool. So that, and then worst moments are just defeats when you know that things are going wrong and you just it just gets to you. So just getting hammered, really. It's just depressing.
Yeah. The clarity of your voice on each goal announcement gets weaker and weaker as you go through. We had that in that Norwich game we had at West Brom a few weeks ago, where it was the big one that we really needed to win and we lost to Norwich. They hammered us, and each goal was, feel the pain.
Yeah, I always do the visiting goals though. I've always done them in a really kind of goal scorer, whoever, number whatever. Yeah,
you do.
I've always
whatever. Yeah, you
like
do.
That. Yeah, even if we're 3-0,
and
even if we're 3-0 and it's a consolation in the last minute, it's still a goal scorer.
Still don't get it. Oh no. Well, it makes perfect sense. They're away from home. It is not their home ground. Nowhere should they be treated with the same respect as the home team, unless, of course, it's Old Trafford.
Yes. I know. We've already covered that, haven't we?
Imagine, I've never heard it anywhere else where there's a complaint that the away goal scorer isn't announced clear enough. Only
well, it was made the away team when I did the lineup. I did it in the number one. And then Old Trafford, Manchester United.
You've got to, haven't you? It's all part of building the atmosphere. Of course, you've got. You're never going to do the same reverence to the away team, are you?
No. I think I've mentioned it before, but just because Dave's on, we don't actually do the away. We sort of 20 past the hour or whatever, 40 minutes before the kickoff, we do both teams. Starting 11, and now. Because we do country roads right at the kickoff, we do the starting United for 11, the starting United 11, sort of, quarter to the kickoff time now. We don't do the away team at all now. We've stopped doing them.
So what we do at Huddersfield is about 20 past, for a 3 o'clock kickoff, 20 past 2, we'll do the first read and that'll be both teams. At about 2:45, we'll do the same again. Read through both teams and subs. Then after the teams have come out and they're lining up doing the handshake, I'll do the home starting 11 only.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think is better anyway. But you know,
And then
different.
have you got something just before kickoff? Have you got, because obviously Alan's got Country Road, which obviously just works
Yes.
to a T.
Yeah, so what happens is the teams will come out as they line up doing the handshake. I'll then run through Huddersfield starting 11 and any match sponsors that we've got on that day. And then that's me done. Then from up in the PA box, Huddersfield have got an anthem that they've had for decades called Smile a While. It's one of those sort of old school classic football songs that is unique to Huddersfield. And it starts with what can only be described, and they actually call it this, Old Man Talking. And it's a guy who did a report on the song decades ago. And the guy doing the report must be in his 70s, and it plays his voice. And he sort of starts the song. And at that point, the supporters of the cowshed loyal behind the goal, the big singing section at Huddersfield, they take that as their cue. They sorted that with the club at the start of the season. And they lead that and they sing into kickoff and the first few seconds of the game to get the game underway. So that's very much fan led. I'll read the team out and then I shut up.
Yep.
Do you have much interaction with the fans or fans forums or anything like that, Dave?
For the most part, the first part of the season, I've actively avoided it because they all hated me. Obviously, accent, somebody new, and all that. So what I tend to do, I'll post occasionally on Twitter. If something's happened or something, I'll post something. Occasionally, I'll post so if Town have won and it's been great, and I'll post maybe a video of just announcing a score or something like that. I've got a pair of them, them Meta glasses that you can record. So earlier on this season, Huddersfield drew Man City in the Carabao, and City had just signed Donnarumma. And he was on the bench. So I took a couple of videos pitch side of me reading the team out. So I posted that for some social content for the club, sent it to the club and what have you. So look, I've got this, and I did sort of look round the stadium in it and a stadium announcer's eye view. And then you caught Donnarumma coming out of the tunnel, and he's massive. He's absolutely massive. So that's probably had more views than anything I've ever put on Twitter X at any point ever. Right. So yeah, you get some interactions on it, and I'm quite happy to. So earlier on this season, there was a new big screen put in at Huddersfield. There was also a new sound system. They've got American owners that want to make match day more of a show. So we've been experimenting with different games. We played 3 or 4 different games at halftime this season. So I'm quite happy to go on and take feedback from that as to what people like and what people don't like. Yeah, I'm quite happy to do that.
I love the idea. I'm now suddenly looking in the We Welcome Your Team's budget to see if we can afford a pair of Meta glasses that we can put on. We can send to our guest each month to sort of like do a bit of the day in their life, everything they see at the stadium, and then
you know what?
Take
They're
that
really,
away.
really good for things like that for the sort of work that we do, because you get a unique view. So I do it on some of the evenings that I do and some of the tours that I'll do. I do a day in the life, and you can video some of the introductions that you do. You video the guests coming out, and you can sort of see it from a completely unique perspective. No one else, whatever we do on match days, no one else gets our perspective.
Absolutely.
No, true.
It's a new way of thinking about it. Just got to remember to turn them off when I sneak into the photographer's room and steal one of the sandwiches that I'm not supposed to have.
Or go to the toilet.
Or go to the toilet as well, yeah.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to
do
see
that. Yeah,
nobody wants to see that. Yeah, that's got me
So
thinking
what does it
about
do, Dave?
Yeah.
Does it load down on your phone?
Yeah,
Or
you
is
just
it-
sync it. Yeah, you sync it to your phone, and it goes onto there, and you can then just put it in your camera roll and do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
Love it. Do you have goal music? Just thinking as part of your show. Oh, okay, because that when someone comes in and says they want to make it more of a show and a production, it can be one of the things that people try and introduce.
It's something that the fans at Huddersfield would be. They were asked about it, I believe, last year, and it was an overwhelming no.
Yeah, unanimous no. Yeah, fair enough.
So they'll do a bit of the same sort of. You get it at most clubs, don't you? You score a goal, fans will do the same sort of song, the same sort of tune, and then after that, you announce the goal scorer to keep it going. So yeah, it's the exact same at Huddersfield. There's no goal music, nor would it be welcomed by the supporters.
Yes, well said. Well said. This came up a couple of episodes ago, and I'm interested if more people do it. Do you have a song for at the end of the game if you win and if you lose?
No, not really.
No. So there's nothing set. Okay.
No, there's nothing set. There was at Oldham. We always played, because it was probably a bit more relevant then in terms of the sort of time when the song came out. If Oldham won, it was always Black Eyed Peas, Tonight's Going to Be a Good Night. There isn't anything specific at Huddersfield. There are sort of happy playlists and less happy playlists.
Okay, yeah.
Just to go back to Oldham, Dave, and maybe because, Rich, I'm local in the north of England and I see a bit more of this, but the chairman stroke owner is a real lovable character, and he with his flat cap and he had his wife on the pitch, didn't he, last year?
Oh,
at the end of the season.
Yeah, he does absolutely all sorts. Everybody loves him. He is the oldest man to ever row the Atlantic, and he's done it twice in his 70s. He is a proper character. He saved the club, local businessman. The fans sing about him. How many groups of fans sing about the chairman in a positive light? You don't see that everywhere, do you?
That's true. Yeah.
Everybody absolutely loves him. And then, obviously, as a fan, Oldham getting promoted last year was unreal, especially for him to come in, take over the club, save the club, and then a couple of years later restore it back to the Football League was, sort of just really, really nice story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're not too bad. They're just around the playoffs, aren't they? If my memory serves me right, they're around.
Yeah,
the
Oldham got a lot this season. If we'd have won last weekend, we've actually gone into the top 7 for the first time. They're on a ridiculous run now of 1 defeat in 11. And they've been going really, really well recently. I'm kind of hoping this week that Huddersfield, they've just dropped out of the playoffs for the first time this season in the last couple of weeks. It's not the best time to lose form, is it?
No.
Yeah, but it's Easter and this, these next few weeks are always absolutely mental. You don't know what's coming. It would just be, just be prepared for the fact that the season you leave Oldham and go to Huddersfield is when Oldham get to Wembley. Just be.
You know what? My absolute dream this year would be, so the League One and League Two playoff finals are the day after each other at Wembley. I would love to be working at Wembley to do something for Huddersfield, and then go back and obviously support Huddersfield, and then go back as an Oldham fan the day after. I mean, it's statistically very, very unlikely, but a boy can dream.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's been statistically likely at West Brom for the last 10 years, and we haven't made it. So, flip it around that way. It's only this season that I've been able to, and it's only probably in the last couple of weeks or so I've probably gone, I don't think I need to keep that bank holiday weekend free, to be honest. Not this time round.
Sorry, Rich. So, obviously, Dave, you're dead busy, as we've said already, with all your hosting and evening with events. So, has there been a clash at all where you've got a Huddersfield game, and is there a backup? Is there a reserve? Is there a sub for David Broadbent at Huddersfield?
Yes, there is. I've had to miss a couple of games, of course. So in my world, I might get booked 3 to 6. I mean, I've got some gigs in for March next year, but as a general rule, I get booked in sort of 3-4 months in advance. Which is great, except the football fixtures don't come out till mid-June. So by that point, I've already got September, October booked in. So my sort of thing with Huddersfield was, look, if I've already committed to something, I've got to do it. But I won't take any other shows that clash with Huddersfield games. In fact, the guy that filled in for me, he works at the club anyway. A brilliant guy, actually. You may well know him. Richard Graves from BBC Radio Leeds. He's a presenter. He does a lot of NFL stuff, but he works in hospitality at Huddersfield, hosting there. So the couple of games that I've missed, he is a more than adequate replacement.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Not too good though.
I mean, I'm hoping not. They keep having me back, so it must be all right. Yeah.
It's always a worry.
Right? Get rid.
Either that or you're too cheap.
That might well be it. Yeah, they might look at it and go, he's not the best, but he's the best in his price range.
Best price range, that's what we all strive for. That's what we all strive for.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, but and I guess, obviously, you have to kind of make sure you don't book gigs for the playoff weekend.
I've actually, there are.
That's
I have blocked those weekends out of my. I blocked the first weekend out. I blocked the potential midweek out, and I blocked the end of it. So, depending on what happens at Huddersfield over the course of the next 3 weeks, Alan, if you hear of any cancellations coming up in mid-May, you might just give me a shout.
Yeah. No problem, mate. No problem.
Yeah. Okay. That's the only reason we added you to the WhatsApp group, Dave. Is it's time to start sharing the love around a bit more.
Yeah.
Brilliant, mate. Well, look, thank you so much for coming on and telling us about those stories. And I just want to finish on, if you could sum it up in a way, the best thing about being a stadium announcer that you feel makes it that amazing job.
I think that it is, on a personal level, it's the closest you're going to get to the action without having the ability required to be a footballer. And it's being part of something and being part of, at Huddersfield, like 20,000 people's day, and you can have a positive impact on that. You got your birthday messages, things like that. You can have a positive impact on people's day whilst having a brilliant time yourself, getting paid to watch football and be a part of it. And let's face it, if you can't be a player, that's what you want to do.
Be an announcer. That may become the podcast strapline, actually. I think that's what we're going to do. If you're not really a player, become an announcer. And in the case of Alan Keegan, plenty of perks, freebies and club merch whenever you need it.
Well, you've got to have something, mate.
I mean, I don't think anyone gets the level that Alan gets, but I've got club tie, I've got a coat, I've got the bobble hat, got the scarf.
Yes.
Anything that we need or use is they're good. They're good at with that. And we always get a sandwich before the game as well. We get access to a sandwich, and I can. I don't know if I'm going to incriminate myself now, but I can sneak in the press room and get a brew.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If I've admitted now to the number of free Bovrils I've had that I probably shouldn't have done, that maybe be my last season, but I don't think I've done any bankrupting yet. David, great to have you, mate. Thank you very much. Best of luck to Huddersfield and Oldham for the rest of the season.
Cheers,
Dave. All the best, mate.
Yeah, massive thanks to David, and huge thanks to Alan as well. And most importantly, thanks to you for being with us for another episode. Remember, you can email us hello@wewelcomeyourteams.com to put forward a stadium announcer we should be chatting to, talk about something you've spotted a stadium announcer doing, even if you suspect, like David, they were inside the Mascot at the last game you went to. Let us know, give us a shout, and in the meantime, don't forget, shoot music as well for the latest additions to your next match day playlist. In the meantime, take it easy, and we'll see you next time round on We Welcome Your Teams.